Master Mage, Season 1, Episode 14. The little boy had been dragged out of the crowd by Fang, but his angry eyes still kept staring at the back. Fang had to repeatedly ask him what had happened. Fang comforted Sam that everything had been over. The dark magic using exorcist had been killed. The street artist must have been joined the same group as the evil exorcist so that Sam could smell the same smell on him. And the three of them took around the market. Fang and Yan looked like a couple were on a date, and the little Sam was like a burden in the middle. Moreover, the little boy was grinning his teeth the whole time like he was envious of the couple. Fang was comforting the little boy all along the way, but Sam could not calm down. Fang had no idea what to say to the little boy. Seeing the gourd candies booth, he wanted to buy it for the little boy to distract him from the anger. Hearing the gourd candies, Fang could see that Sam's mouth was filling up with the saliva. Fang gave Sam a smile because he knew that he was still a little kid no matter how angry Sam was. And just with 2 gourd candies, the little boy smiled and forgot what happened earlier, and so the three of them kept walking around the town the whole day. Eventually, Fang realized that they had reached his favorite restaurant in the town. His stomach rumbled badly at the moment. He thought of the earlier meal Yan had treated him, so he said he wanted to offer Yan the Pond Village special dishes. Yan knew how much Fang's stomach was capable of, and Fang must have been hungry, so she didn't refuse while the little Sam was still holding the sweet gourd candy in his hand. Fang took them to in front of the restaurant, with the thought that they would get in a long line to get inside because that was a prestigious restaurant in the village. Fang's heart bounced badly every step he walked closer to the restaurant. Out of the blue, the restaurant was unexpectedly quiet. There was no one inside. Fang had to ask out loud why the restaurant was so quiet, if the restaurant was in reparation or something. When being in hesitation, he saw the owner walked out towards him and welcomed him inside. The restaurant's owner asked Fang why Master Jackie and Fang didn't come to his place in such a long time. Fang was not a big boss or a noble in the town. Why the owner was in that warm-hearted welcome him? The owner was very good in his business. No matter how his customer looked or how much they had spent at his restaurant, he always spoke to the customer with a big smiley face. The owner invited them to a private table. Fang just found a random table in the restaurant and sat by. He asked the owner if they could sit there, and the owner let the three of them were his guest. Fang also wanted to have a meal with Yan at a private table, but he had no money. He also wanted to save money for his master. The owner poured them some tea and asked them what they wanted to have. Fang didn't reply to him about what his order was. He spitted out his curiosity as why there was no one in the restaurant at mealtime. At that point, the owner gave a long sigh and started to tell him what had happened to his place. He recalled that Fang and Master Jackie were all masters in acquiring the demon. He begged Fang to help his family's business. More than 10 days earlier, his restaurant was just busy like normal, where people in the town usually choose to dine in because of the special menu as well as the warm-hearted treatments to his customers. That special day, there was a weird event that happened to his restaurant. One of his customers complained about the food. He said it was too difficult to swallow the food. To the owner, he was highly confident about the food at his place. So that was so hard to believe. But through the customer's reaction, which was unlikely to be making up or fraud. Moreover, he was a loyal customer at his place, so that was really weird. The customer asked the owner to come and try the food on his own to see if he was lying. First off, the owner looked over the food table. There was nothing weird. The colors, the smell of every dish, everything was pretty normal. Out of curiosity, he picked up the chopsticks and put a piece of food in his mouth. He realized that there must have been something wrong. How a delicious-looking dish got that weird taste. He was likely chewing wax and really unable to swallow it. That customer yelled at the owner about how he could eat that kind of bad food. The owner got in a panic. He was unable to understand what had happened to the food. Not only that loyal customers get the issue, but the entire diners in his restaurant on that particular day. They all got irritated and tossed the food into the ground. All of them scolded the owners and his services badly. Even though the owner sincerely apologized to them, they could not calm down. They even told him to better close the restaurant later on. And ever since then, the food in the restaurant turned to be tasteless. Then the restaurant turned to be that quiet as Fang had seen. The incident had happened too quickly, so that the owner could not find out the root cause and solution. He had to see his restaurant was empty and days quietly. Hearing the restaurant's issue, Fang was very confused. He asked curiously, did that such thing really happen? Did the owner change his chief or the cooking materials? The owner replied that he didn't change anything. Everything was just like earlier. He wasn't a kind of dishonesty to make a profit in business. After asking in detail, Fang was unable to guess what happened. The owner told Fang that he would bring them the food shortly, and hopefully, he was going to find out what happened to the food. Fang happily nodded his head to agree that he would have a free ride for not paying for the food that day. Fang asked if he could have the signature fish dish of the restaurant. Fang wanted to let Yan know that he didn't boast about the food there. The signature fish dish at the restaurant was the best in the town. Shortly, a big fish dish had been brought out in front of them. From afar, they could see the good color, the tendency sauce. Just by the look, they could imagine how good it was. Once the dish came closer, Fang furrowed his eyebrow. The dish looked good by the color, but he smelt nothing. That was the abnormal point. As usual, he could smell the fish from the start. The owner put the dish in front of Fang. He used the chopsticks, took up the fish's belly part, and put it into his mouth. And indeed, Fang felt nothing so difficult to swallow. That was like he was chewing a piece of cotton. Fang tried his best to swallow, but he was unable. He had to spit out instantly. He turned to the owner, confirmed that the dish was very bad, and asked him to take Fang to the kitchen. Without hesitation, the owner led the way for Fang to the kitchen. Yan was also stepping after him. After the incident, there was no one in the place in days, so the owner could only keep a chef at the restaurant with the chin pose and giving a long sigh. Fang watched around carefully, but he had found nothing abnormal. Fang had stepped in and was unable just to say he found nothing abnormal. Later on, Fang asked the owner if he could see how the chef made the dishes from the start. The owner and the chef started to burn the stove and put the ingredients into the pan without a word in front of Fang. The well-honed chef made every move effortlessly. Yan and Sam highly stayed focused on the chef. Just in a blink of an eye, he had finished the dish full of smell around the kitchen, but the smell faded shortly. Fang gazed up to the ceiling. He realized that the smell was flying straight up into the ceiling. He saw that the smell didn't stick around the dish as it was supposed to be but flew out around the huge column in the middle of the kitchen. Something must have drunk the entire smell of the food, but it was like an invisible thing. Fang stayed focusing on the column and realized there was a giant creature was hanging in there. The creature was staring at Fang with red eyes. Fang yelled out that people must have run out of the kitchen hurriedly. Seeing the frozen Yan standing there, Fang had to push her violently out of the door. The owner just headed out and was unable to imagine what happened. He ran towards Yan and asked what had happened in the kitchen. Yan replied that she didn't know what happened as well, just saw Fang was in a panic and pushed her out of the door. Yan was very curious. She wanted to know what was inside, which drove Fang into that panic. She pulled out the window's curtain and gave her eyes inside. From what she eyewitnessed, she had to scream out. A giant centipede was hanging up the ceiling. She had never seen that giant one before. It was heading to attack Fang. Fang was examining the situation and finding a way to deal with the giant centipede. Then, he realized Sam was still behind him. Worrying for his little brother's well-being, Fang shouted out why Sam was still there. He had told him to get out of the place already. Sam was not likely to be scared at the moment. He kept his calm. He asked Fang what was up the ceiling. Fang knew that his little fellow was not easy to be convinced and let Fang alone with the giant centipede. He moved to in front of the little boy to shield him and replied that it was a giant centipede which had hidden there for drinking the food smell. That was its cultivation method. The centipede must have been 2 meters long. It screamed out repeatedly and quickly rushed towards Fang. At that moment, Fang held a long inhale and pulled himself together. He took out his magic tool in the bag. In his head, there was a plan to acquire that monster. He wanted to use the magic mirror to take that monster down. The centipede used its tail to hang in the column tightly and moved towards Fang. It showed the sharp teeth and wanted to swallow Fang. Without a second thought, Fang mirrored the magic mirror to the monster. After a while, Fang realized that there was nothing had happened. It was out of his plan. He could not imagine the magical mirror didn't work on the monster. While Fang was confusing, the centipede changed the target. It tended to attack Sam. Reading the scene, Fang shouted out that Sam should be careful, then pushed the little boy behind and jumped out of the way. Fortunately, the 2 boys could dodge the centipede's attack, resulting in the centipede jumping to the ground. The strong push from Fang had made Sam hit the shelves, being a little painful, but the little boy understood why Fang had pushed him that strongly. Fang quickly took the little boy up and asked if he was okay. The centipede turned around and stared in Fang's direction. Sam asked Fang why the magical mirror didn't work on that monster. That was the question Fang was finding the answer to as well. He was afraid that the giant centipede was not well cultivated to be at demon level, so the tools or talismans he had brought along didn't work on it. Seeing Fang had no way to win over the giant centipede while the monster was about to crawl over Fang, Sam got worried sick. The little boy rushed Fang to think how to fight back, or else the 2 of them surely go to hell to see the god of death in no time. Nothing in Fang's hands affected the monster at the moment. Being in a dilemma, Fang got sweat all over his forehead already. Fortunately, he heard a rooster's call from the outside. Fang likely had an idea. Fang laughed out loud, let the confusing little boy next to him. The little boy was surprised that his life's savior was going to be the roosters outside.